BMW M3 E46. So a few months ago, I was actually planning on buying a convertible. I had bought a 2011 E350 last year, and it was a very beautiful car. But it was so nice that I was afraid of driving it. So I kept it for a few months and then I sold it. Now, when I did that, that's my neighbor. So when I did that, I felt the need to have another convertible. Well, so the backstory is after I sold the E350, I actually went ahead and bought a GL 550. And I like that SUV, but then again, from a convertible to an SUV, it wasn't much. And it was the lowest mileage GL. You'll see the videos of that car, or some of the installed videos of that car on my channel. And then this summer I decided I wanted a convertible again. But I didn't want a garage queen. I wanted a car that I could drive on a regular basis. So what should I get? I was looking for cheap options, and this was one of the cheap options that I was looking at. Well, not necessarily the M3. I was actually looking for a regular E46 from this era. I started off with the 325s, I think, or 328s, and then did the research, found the 330s were the ones to go with, and I started looking. And I found a couple of them. I found a couple of 2004 5s, single owner cars that had done about 50, 60,000 miles for $14,000, $15,000. When I got to the $14,000, $15,000 range, these M3s started popping up. High mileage M3s started popping up. And I'm like, hey, what the heck? You know, let's give it a shot. But when I was looking at the M3s, they looked beautiful. And I'm like, wait, if I'm spending 14, 15, let me start looking at the M3s. And then I started looking at the lower mileage ones, or ones with clean history, and these cars were around 25 or 30,000 hours. But now it got stuck in my head that, hey, if I want a good car, if I want a good M3 that is drivable, but at the same time it's not really high mileage, I want one of those. And I started searching and finally found this one. Now this car is a one owner car that was purchased locally in Pennsylvania, close to where I live, and has been maintained at the BMW dealership since it was owned, or since it was bought. And that got me sold, and I bought the car. Like I said, the history is pretty good. And then I have it now, and since I've bought the car, I've done a bunch of stuff to it. Nothing major, but I'll show you in the next few shots. This car is such a joy to drive. I mean, I've driven a bunch of different cars, and this has still got that raw, old school feeling, and the hype is real. The hype of the E46s and the M3s and BMWs in general is real. I have been a Mercedes person for the longest time, I've had BMWs before, but none felt as good to drive and so good in terms of handling as this does. So people talk about, so one of the first things that I like about it is, again, the looks. It's still got that timeless, I think this is the most beautiful designs that BMW has ever put out. Sorry about the shadow, this just doesn't do it justice. I wish I was out of the frame and you could see it. The exhaust, the tires, but and I will do a POV soon once I get the right camera equipment, but this is, of course, no garage queen. It's got its issues, but I don't really care. One of the reasons why I didn't want a mint condition M3 was then that I wouldn't really be able to drive it, because again, I have that pet peeve if something is, get the seatbelt on, because if I would have gotten something in that mint condition, I would have been babying it and I wouldn't really be enjoying it. This way, what was important was the car being a single owner car. That way at least I'd know the history, and then it could have been in bad shape and I would have still been okay with it, because again, these cars are easy to maintain. BMW gets that bad rep that they'll, and I hear that in a lot of videos, right, on YouTube or everywhere, that they always have a check engine light and you've got all those problems. Well, if you don't maintain the car right, any car, it doesn't have to be a BMW, any car that if you don't maintain right, it's going to have a check engine light, or it's going to have all those problems. If you maintain them right, if you've got a great team that actually manages the car or maintains the car for you, then you have absolutely no problem. I take this car both to the main BMW dealer, and I also take it to Castle Performance, which is in New York. It is an M3 specialty shop, and they do a phenomenal job. I have done, so what are some of the things that I have done to it? I've done when I first got the car, I got the inspection done, and that I got done from Castle Performance. The car was in good shape. The issues, the vanos was tested, the vanos was fine. Then there was the rod bearings. We did not know if they were ever changed at 93,000 miles, 94,000 miles. I didn't want to take a chance, and so we got that fixed, or the rod bearings replaced. We got that taken care of. We've got the rear subframe reinforcement. Again, it's not bad, it's not needed as of now, but obviously it's preventative. You don't have to do it. The way this car was driven, it doesn't really need it, but I am going to do it anyway. That's for sure. It's going to cost me, but when they go ahead and, for example, let me go back up a bit. When we did the rod bearings, obviously we changed the engine mounts because they were there. When I do the rear subframe reinforcement, the car is going to be with them for a while, for a week or so. They're going to change they're reinforce the subframe. They will also change all the bushings, the trailing arm bushings and everything else. So all that is going to be taken care of. And I'm also going to get the clutch plate and the flywheel to be changed as well. I do feel that kind of shudders, or when it's changing gears, first and second. Otherwise, it's been pretty good. But again, nothing that's preventing me from driving the car, but these are things that I will get taken care of, and they're on the list. Power steering makes a whining noise. Again, it drives okay. They checked it, they tested it. There's nothing wrong with it. So we'll figure that out. So